Yo, hey folks, it's Kevin, Big K Horror here. Alright, so I'm not going to do a review right now. More of kind of like, I want to ask, some of you horror fiends out there, a question on your opinion on something, or if this has happened to you over time. Okay, like let's say, over time as a horror geek, we from my childhood into adulthood, things change, our tastes change, our opinions change, and our stance on life changes, over time. So within that time frame, other things change for us, like our taste in movies, music, clothing, whatever. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about was how over time, since I was a little kid, like in the 80s, and then a teen, growing a preteen and teen in the 90s, and now an adult in the 2000s, how a lot of things have changed as far as my attitude toward movies, titles, things like that. And I will get very specific in what I'm talking about. But also I want to discuss like what kind of things cause that sort of thing. And then there's an argument about one of the things I want to mention. But like what I mean is, it's like when I was growing up a kid, let's say like in 1990, around 88 is when I started liking horror films. And my mom, like my older brothers, started kind of showing me stuff around the house that I was not supposed to see. Like some clips from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 1 and 2, things like that. And over time, because from 88 and 89, they were showing me this stuff. By 1990, I was in 3rd grade, but my mom was allowing me to rent some horror movies on every Saturday when we'd go to the VHS little mom and pop video store, the video vendor. Anyway, and even the old school Blockbuster and Alfalfa Video and all those, they had a huge, vast horror selection of VHSs. Anyway, so, what I'm trying to get to is I remember when I was a kid, of course I was into horror, like, and all the old box art, I'd always look at all the boxes and the titles and, all that kind of stuff. All of us, for us who were around to go to the video stores back then, we all did the same thing. But one thing I also did was judge movies, and that's what we do. We judge by cover, we judge by title. A lot of titles or whatnot, I would judge. And funny enough, I was thinking about this the other day, there's a lot of those titles that I judged growing up that now I absolutely love. For instance, like I remember the first time in the video store as a little kid, I saw the cover and title for Frankenhooker. Okay? I thought, wow, this looks stupid. Frankenhooker, it's supposed to be Frankenstein, I was a kid, and the same goes for like Blackula. I remember seeing Blackula. Now I didn't back then. I didn't know there was such thing as blaxploitation cinema, but I thought it was like a black hip comedy take on Dracula, which it's not. And I remember thinking that, and I don't mean that in a racist way. I didn't think it was stupid because it had black people in it. You know what I mean? No, it was just the title, Blackula. I was like, what? Why is the title that stupid? Things like that. But now I love Blackula, and Scream, Blackula Scream. And I recently just now finally owned and saw Frankenhooker, and I love that movie. Like, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? That this was horrible. But I think that's just part of it. Over time, my tastes have changed. During that time in the 80s, there was a lot of those movies that at that time people were sick of, tired of. It was redundant. But now, in the times we live in now, and with a lot of shit that Hollywood puts out now, the repetition of remakes and lack of originality ideas, a lot of these movies that look bad to us back then now seem like gold, like diamond in the roughs almost. And another good, so with that said, I want to ask if there's ever been one of those that, like a series of movies or an entry in a franchise that you hated back then, but now that you absolutely love. Or not even love, but you think is not so bad. Like, for instance, perfect example for me would be from 1990 all the way to 2001, I honestly swear to God that I thought Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, was the worst Halloween film that would ever exist and that could exist, alright? Until 2001, when Halloween 8 Resurrection came out, Halloween 5 now, all of a sudden, is gold. It looks like a masterpiece. And now it actually plays like a masterpiece. Sure, it's goofy and disjointed, and it went in the completely wrong direction. That Part 4, it should have went in the right direction after Part 4, but no. But now it seems much better compared to the Buster Rhyme karate antics of Halloween 8 Resurrection. So, like, now, some people would argue, I know there's been arguments about that before, can a later sequel that's just actually absolutely bad, make a previous entry look better? I say yes. Some people say no. No, a newer entry that's bad does not make a bad sequel from the prior, like a prior bad sequel, look good. I think it kind of does. I think that's just how, as humans, we do, especially with things that are in groups, like a franchise title or whatever. We see something so bad, or that's received as so bad, that makes us kind of look back at what was before and like rejoice it. Another movie title that, aside from Blackula or Frankenhooker, that I laughed at as a kid and thought was so stupid and always tossed to the side, but then I actually gave it a chance growing up later in my life, and I love. And regret tossing to the side because of a title, But also, like, there's movies growing up when I was, like, in 1998, 99 and all that, when I was a junior or senior in high school, there were movies that came out that either I liked then and now I just kind of don't care for, or that I hated then and now I absolutely love. And that title, like, I blew off my senior prom to go see Idle Hands in the theater of, I think it was the end of April, beginning of May of 1999. And I skipped my senior prom to go see that, and I hated that movie. Like, I just didn't like it at all. I was like, comedy horror, blah, blah, blah. Now, I saw it recently, and I love it. Like, I get all the humor in it. It's something different. Like, and that's probably what's so sad, is that I think it's the state of horror films we have now, although this past year of 2013 has been great for horror. But to me, it's like, with the state of horror we're in now, like, with how the studios have been just like reproducing the same ideas over and over, like, it's like old things that look bad to me all of a sudden take on a new form, a new life. I don't know. That's what this is about. And that's one to ask y'all if there are any titles that, vice versa, that you either hated growing up, and now that you absolutely love and have to have in your collection, or vice versa, ones that you love and now you just don't care for. Which I'll do another probably video on those. But for this was about seeking a new life in a movie that you once deemed bad, terrible, stupid, whatever. Either by seeing it or just by hearsay, by seeing it, looking at it, thinking, I don't want to see this shit. But then you turn around and see it years later, and you're like, why did I ever call it shit? So that's where I'm at right now. That's what I'm just talking about. So if you get what I'm talking about, like, comment, tell me what some of the titles were for you that changed over time, or was there ever an entry in a franchise, a future entry in the franchise that made a previous entry look better, that you disliked prior? Alright, that's it. That's all I gotta say. So comment on the video. Peace.